He hadn't seen his old friend in years, until he spotted him mopping floors in a corporate building. What he did next left everyone speechless. The high-rise office building gleamed under the city lights as Ethan Walker, billionaire investor, stepped inside for a late-night meeting. His businesses spanned industries across the world, yet no matter how successful he became, he had never forgotten where he came from. As he walked through the lobby, his sharp eyes caught something, or rather, someone. A janitor, dressed in a worn uniform, mopping the marble floors. At first, Ethan barely glanced his way, but then the man turned, and his heart nearly stopped. It was Jordan Carter, his best friend from college. The guy who used to pull all-nighters with him, who once dreamed of building a successful company of his own. And now, he was cleaning floors? Ethan felt his chest tighten. What had happened? Jordan hadn't seen him yet. His posture was slouched, his eyes tired. Ethan took a slow breath, then stepped forward. Jordan. The man froze. His grip tightened around the mop handle before he slowly turned. When his eyes met Ethan's, shock flashed across his face. Ethan? His voice was barely a whisper. Silence stretched between them for a moment. Two old friends, now living completely different lives. Then Ethan spoke, his voice steady. What happened to you? Jordan let out a shaky laugh, rubbing the back of his neck. Man, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. Ethan's jaw tightened. Try me. Because whatever had led Jordan here, Ethan wasn't about to walk away without fixing it. Jordan sighed, leaning on the mop handle. Life happened, man. Ethan folded his arms, studying him. This was the same guy who once dreamed of running his own business. What went wrong? Jordan chuckled dryly. After college, I tried starting my own company. Poured everything I had into it. But things didn't go as planned. His jaw tightened. Bad partnerships, debt, a couple of bad deals. And before I knew it, I lost everything. Ethan exhaled sharply. He knew what it felt like to struggle. But to see his best friend like this, it didn't sit right. Jordan shrugged. Had to survive somehow. Took whatever job I could get, and well. He gestured to the mop. Here I am. Ethan clenched his fists. Number, this wasn't how Jordan's story was supposed to end. He took a step closer. You're not staying here. Jordan frowned. What? Ethan pulled out his phone. Meet me tomorrow morning at my office. 8 a.m. sharp. Jordan hesitated. Ethan, man, I appreciate it, but I don't need pity. It's not pity, Ethan cut in, his voice firm. It's an opportunity, and I don't offer those to just anyone. Jordan stared at him, emotions flickering across his face. Pride, hesitation, and hope. After a long pause, he exhaled and nodded. Okay. 8 a.m. Ethan smirked. Good. Don't be late. As he walked away, one thing was clear. Jordan wasn't going to spend another day mopping floors. Tomorrow, his life was going to change. The next morning, at exactly 8 a.m., Jordan stood outside the towering headquarters of Walker Industries, his heart pounding. He adjusted his worn-out jacket, feeling out of place as employees in sleek suits brushed past him. What was he even doing here? Part of him wanted to turn around and leave. Guys like Ethan didn't owe him anything. But another part, the part that remembered the all-night study sessions, the dreams they once shared, made him stay. Taking a deep breath, he stepped inside. At the reception desk, a polished assistant smiled. Mr. Walker is expecting you. Top floor. Jordan swallowed hard and took the elevator up, each passing floor making the weight of his failures feel heavier. When the doors opened, Ethan was already waiting. Right on time, Ethan said with a smirk. Jordan chuckled nervously. Didn't want to mess up my first meeting. Ethan clapped a hand on his shoulder and led him into a spacious office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Sit down, Ethan said, settling behind his desk. Jordan hesitated but obeyed. So, What exactly is this? Ethan leaned forward. A second chance. Jordan blinked in surprise. You're serious? Dead serious, Ethan replied. I remember who you were, how smart, how ambitious. You just needed someone to back you. Now, I'm that someone. Jordan shook his head. I don't know, man. I've messed up a lot. Ethan's voice softened. So have I. The only difference, someone gave me a shot. Now it's your turn. He slid a folder across the desk. I'm offering you a position, Business Development Director. You'll work directly with me, learn the ropes, and when you're ready. Jordan's heart pounded as Ethan smiled. I'll help you rebuild your company. His hands shook slightly as he picked up the folder. Why are you doing this? Ethan's expression turned serious. Because you're not a janitor, Jordan. You're a builder, and I won't let you forget that. Emotion swelled in Jordan's chest. Hope, pride, and a feeling he hadn't known in years. Belief in himself. He stood up, extending his hand. I won't let you down. Ethan shook it firmly. I know. As Jordan walked out of that office, the man who had walked in, tired, defeated, broken, was gone. In his place was someone new, and this was only the beginning. 1 year later, Jordan stood in front of a conference room filled with executives, his suit crisp, his confidence unshakable. A year ago, he was mopping floors. Now, he was leading a multi-million-dollar business division at Walker Industries. He clicked to the next slide in his presentation. And that, gentlemen, is how we turned a failing branch into one of our most profitable divisions. Applause filled the room. Jordan had done it. As the meeting wrapped up, Ethan walked over, grinning. Not bad, Director Carter. Jordan smirked. I had a decent mentor. Ethan crossed his arms. You ready for the next step? Jordan raised an eyebrow. Next step? Ethan pulled out a folder and handed it over. Funding for your business. It's time. Jordan's breath hitched. His business. The dream he thought he lost was finally within reach. He looked up at Ethan, eyes filled with gratitude. I don't know what to say. Ethan smirked. Say you'll build something great. Jordan chuckled, shaking his head. I intend to. As he walked out of the office, he wasn't just an employee anymore. He was a businessman, an entrepreneur, a success story. And this time, he wasn't starting from the bottom. He was starting from the top. Because real friends don't just remember where you came from. They make sure you rise again. 1 year later, Jordan stood outside a sleek glass building. His building. The large sign above the entrance read, Carter Enterprises, in bold, shining letters. His company. His second chance. He exhaled, running a hand over the engraved plaque near the door. 1 year ago, this was just a dream. Now, it was real. A familiar voice pulled him from his thoughts. Looks good. Jordan turned to see Ethan Walker standing beside him, smirking. Jordan chuckled. Not bad for a guy who used to mop floors, huh? Ethan patted his shoulder. Told you, you weren't meant to stay there. They stood in silence for a moment, taking it all in. Then Ethan asked, So, what's next? Jordan grinned. Now, I build something great. And when I do... He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small black business card, the same kind Ethan had once given him. I'll be the one giving second chances. Ethan smirked. That's what I like to hear. As they walked through the doors of Carter Enterprises, one thing was clear. Jordan wasn't just back. He was unstoppable. And now, it was his turn to change lives.